With the intervention of the president. Today, the president allayed the fears of many a Ghanaian on government contract with Zoomlion, stating categorically that the year-old contract between Youth Employment Agency (YEA) and Zoomlion Ghana Limited will not be renewed. The president announced this in response to investigative journalist Manasseh, who petitioned him to discontinue the Zoomlion contract over allegations of corruption and mismanagement. There were public uproar following the revelations that under the terms of the YEA Zoomlion contract, 850 Ghana cedis was allocated to each sweeper, but Zoomlion keeps 600 and pays the sweepers only 250 Ghana cedis a month. NDC Greater Accra Regional Organizer Amos Blessing Amose threatened the demonstration if government renew the contract. You recall that Parliament Committee on Sanitation as well also went round and per what they got, the MMDAs were also asking for that cancellation of the Zoomlion contract. Also, YA boss Malik Basintali had to address the media and say that the contract had ended and they were not going to continue that. So in that letter dated June 11, 2025, signed by Secretary to the President, Dr. Mahama, President Mahama said a lot of things. Let me read to you excerpts of that. He says, 1, at point 1, expiration of the contract between Youth Employment Agency YEA and Zoomlion Ghana Limited has expired and will not be renewed. Second point, audit of payment and claims. All payments made to Zoomlion after the contract expiration will be thoroughly audited. No further payment will be authorized without proper verification, and any unauthorized payment will be recovered. 3, conduct competitive procurement. Cabinet has directed that future sanitation contracts be subjected to a competitive procurement process. Rather than one national contract, there should be regional or district-based tenders for private firms. This could reduce costs through competitive pricing and stimulate innovation as companies compete on service quality to secure contract. A cabinet subcommittee will develop the modalities for implementing this. And also, the fourth point is that sweepers fee with probable cost saving. The government intends to increase the sweeper fees to a more livable income. And the fifth one, fumigation centers or contracts that have not been performed satisfactorily will be reviewed and where appropriate terminated in accordance with their terms and upon the advice of the Attorney General. And this is to Manasseh, the freelance investigative journalist, and signed by Dr. Mahama, Secretary to President John Dramani Mahama. Well, Manasseh himself has been responding to this letter. He has welcomed that initiative.
One of the best pieces of news I have received in my journalism career, because I first broke this story in 2013 and have since continued with updates, with advocacies in social media and then main media platforms, and it appeared nobody was prepared to listen until His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama took this decisive step. I can only be thankful to him for this, because it's going to save Ghana some money, it's going to improve our sanitation, and also, more importantly, the people who go out every day to battle with filth will get something, a livable fees, as the president put it. One has to do with the fees paid for this contract. The arrangement has been that the government would give Zoomlion 850 cedis per month according to the contract, and then Zoomlion would pay the sweepers 250 cedis, then keep 600 cedis per sweeper as management fees. And we're looking at 45,000 people on record. On the ground, we didn't have that number, but that's how much Zoomlion was billing the state. So the company would make about 27 million cedis every month as management fees, but those shipping went home with practically nothing. There has also been the issue when the people don't show up to ship, many of them because the money was not good and they could be in arrears owed for up to a year. So the assemblies had to use their own internally generated funds to employ shippers to go and sweep the markets when Zoomlion is paid every month for the same work. And this and many others. And I also mentioned the mode of contracting and also fumigation and other contracts within the sector. And I think those are some of the issues the president addressed in addition to this one-year contract issues. And also the company has been saying that the government doesn't pay every month. But it is instructive to note that this contract is such that the government doesn't pay for 3 months. Zoomlion charges interest on the arrears the government owes the company. Last year, for instance, it charged 90 million Ghana cedis arrear. That's the interest on arrears. So contractors can sometimes be owed up to 5 years or so, but Zoomlion, after 3 months, the government must pay interest on the arrears. And when Zoomlion delays in paying the sweepers and the government pays this interest, it doesn't translate to the sweepers benefiting from this interest. So it has always been a mess. The assemblies didn't have control or don't have control over these contracts. Remember, they used to be very effective even doing this in summer concept. But when Zoomlion came, all of that was collapsed and they gave the contracts out. I can simply say, and many people who know how these things work, it appears the government officials who have handled these deals have been compromised and they are not prepared to do what is right because there have been enough pieces of evidence. Remember the JIDA report President Mahama commissioned in 2013, page 131 of that report, which is online, outlines the anomalies with this contract. It's been late, but better late than never, and all the same, I'm grateful to President Mahama that he's taken this step.
That's freelance investigative journalist Manasseh Azuri Awini. So let's talk about the Ablekuma North Parliamentary seat. The National Democratic Congress, NDC, is demanding a rerun of about 30 polling stations in that constituency before the final declaration of the parliamentary results. The NPP think that is a stretch. They just want only 3 polling stations to be added to the already collated results and declared. Now, this came up at a meeting between the Electoral Commission, the New Patriotic Party representatives, and the National Democratic Congress. And this meeting today is just a follow-up of last week. You remember last week, Wednesday, by this time, the members of Parliament on the minority side marched to the police headquarters to present a petition to the Inspector General of Police. They were demanding that the IGP releases or deploys police personnel for the EC to go and conclude the collation and declare the results of the parliamentary Ablekuma North seat. Now, for the minority, they don't want a rerun. Their candidate said she had won. The NPP says they've won, and so they want the process concluded. Now, the NDC wants something else. Alhaji Mahdi Jibril is the Deputy Director of Elections and IT for the NDC. He joins us on the line. Good evening to you. Thank you for your time. Mahdi, this meeting, how did it conclude?
Let me say good evening, listeners. EC invited us today for a meeting between us and the MPP. The EC made it clear that they have done some collation and it is left with 3 polling stations. However, we objected to the process that led to the collation that had the over 254 polling stations or 74 polling stations.
Okay.
Our stand, all this is that there are 37 polling stations that you can have a picture. But the only document we have is a scanned document. And we will not be part of any process that scanned document will be used for collating of results. The only thing that will allow that in the future we can rely on as a country is a rerun where there will be a law to support that process. However, the MPP wants to say, okay, it's a scanned document, allow you to use the scanned document and then get the 3 additional declared results. This is how we ended at the meeting, which we have asked the Electoral Commission to meet over it and then get back to us. But our position is that we are asking for a rerun of 37 polling stations that the EC don't have a clean sheet, and the only available document is a scanned document of those polling stations.
Okay, so NDC's position, we are not going to use the scanned document. 37 polling stations outstanding. Let's do a rerun. The NPP says no. Only 3 results have to be added for the declaration. Do we know where the EC stands in this? And did the EC tell the 2 political parties, because you're the ones that are interested in this, as to how they intend to resolve it? Are they going to do a rerun, or what exactly is going to happen?
This, from the meeting, this meeting, as I said, is one of the good meeting that between the 2 political parties and the Election Commission. But you can see clearly that the EC is only relying on motions. I will consider, at least allow it to move without any legal battle.
So which emotions is the EC talking about?
So we have gone through this process. It was shown on television, and we should end this process. We should do everything possible to be able to complete this process. That's all about it.
Again, so there's no timeline the EC is working with?
Oh, the EC has already told the whole world that it is the police who is not giving the security. But I'm happy that they invited us for the meeting. That time, when I came to the city, I told you that what the minority did, they did it in ignorance. So the electoral committee who handled the election, they are using the process. That's why they invited us. So now we are waiting. It's not about the police. It's about following the process.
Okay. But in waiting,
and our position for rerun, it is for future. It's about the future. We need to have a precedent that when something happens, it might not be somebody destroying ballot things. It can happen for natural disaster. You can be carrying ballot papers coming to the polling center, involved in accidents, and also first they push it got bent. So how do you resolve it?
So in waiting for the EC, is there a timeline we're looking for? Because it's almost 6 months. People of Adom don't have a representative.
Even today, the EC to come out to say that yes, we will go for a rerun, and the people of Adom to select and vote for who they want. But at this time around, we make sure that presiding officers, members of all political parties, security personnel, will do their work well, and then we'll get a big sheet. Whoever wins the elections will declare the person who is for the person, and the panel gets the MP.
So what we have to do now is to wait for the EC to communicate to the political parties on what next line of action they want to take in Abdulkumanos.
Yes, that is it. Because remember the last time we met them on 13th, we waited to them, prove them, and then finally they went to tell the police that they want to collect the result. They give it to them. After when we also met the police. But I feel that this time around we'll follow the roadmap that we are taking.
Okay. Alhaji, very grateful for your time. Alhaji Mahdi Jibril is the Deputy Director of Elections and IT for the NDC. Let me read some of your messages that have come in. Victor Rapcha in Ho says, the NDC government and the sector minister are really merciful and leading by example compared to the previous government's vindictiveness, etc., by closing down radio stations. But if they refuse to comply with the 30 days, the law should be the law. Resetting on course. #505. You add, hi, Class FM. Good move by JM to the Honorable Minister. He should be careful how he handles issues with the media. Why can't he sit with them through the GEBA, solve this issue in NDC amicable way? The same thing MPP did and went against them. Why is he doing same? Francis in Accra sent in this one. Val, that's the mark of good leadership. Those stations may have break the rules, it's in the interest of the stations to be given grace period to put good structures in place, unlike the other leader who says some stations were mentioning his name always, so they must be shut down without breaking any rules. Or didn't know Deborah Teshigono School sent in this one. Val, if the minority can cause to believe the bail conditions for Chairman Wontumi, okay, this is different from today's message, but then you say for a while I thought you were on the minister's list. What a sweet relief.